It was a few days of me relaxing, just taking in the mellow mood that our Cecily, turned sea creature, left me with her musical talents. Cecily also gifted me with a relaxing feeling. It helped my anxiety in a way I can't explain. I fed Dobie, the fish I confiscated from the magical book, and bought him a new tank for my kitchen. I think he was another gift from Cecily. I was just happy to be able to put her soul to rest. I spent all that Saturday setting up the sea tank fit with plants. Typically, it took time to set up a tank, but I didn't exactly have the time to do that with Dobie. I even got him a few new companions to keep him company. Then, a few days later, I was feeding Dobie, admiring the new purple and turquoise blue decor, and I felt a sudden need to cut my wrist. I felt like I was in a trance. I walked over to the kitchen, opening the drawer, pulling out a sharp knife, and I began slicing my arm. It didn't bleed much, but I had this overwhelming, depressing feeling coming over me. Then I heard my television pop on all by itself. There was a news story about a young girl about 16 years old that had gone missing. The report was dated 3 years ago. I knew then it was the book. Dropping the knife, I ran to get a paper towel and some alcohol to clean the wound I created. I heard guns firing lasers, and I saw a bright blue light illuminating from the book. I took a big gulp. What was I getting myself into? I opened the book to The Murder Show, which was the next story I was to read, and then I took a deep breath. I looked down and I could see a tiny television featuring 2 teenagers playing a video game in a room. It was like I was watching a movie. One of them had short bleach blonde hair, and the other had black hair, and I recognized her as one of the missing teenage girls from the news that had just been featured on my television. Instead of reading this story, I was watching it. I was hearing her voice inside my head, or maybe it was out loud. I couldn't tell anymore. I looked at the pages before me, and they were turning on their own like an old-fashioned picture book. I watched a girl as her eyes turned and faced me. She had black hair, dark eyes, and pale skin. She had a black t-shirt on with a ton of bracelets. Her thin face was pretty, but she didn't smile. Instead, I could do nothing except for listen to the story titled The Murder Show. My name is Andrea Becker, and as long as I could remember, I wanted to die. I know it sounds strange, but I looked at death as a permanent nostalgic return of your soul. I swear I'm not a freak. I know I look the part, don't get me wrong. I am a cliché for someone my age. Let me begin by telling you how it all began. When I was 10 years old, my grandparents were visiting from out of town. My grandmother was taking a shower, and when she got out, she screamed for my mother as she was having chest pains. She fell over into the bathroom floor. The EMTs were there in record time. Maybe it was slow. I just know that it was all a blur. I watched them trying to bring my grandmother back to life. My grandpa wasn't home. He had gone shopping with my dad and older brother, so I had a front row to the tragic end of a woman I had loved so much. Then I knew the exact moment she died. I saw her ghost or soul, whatever you believe. It floated out of her body, and it looked at me. My grandmother's spirit looked at me and smiled, and then everything would be fine, and it wasn't about me. It was about how at peace she was. I longed for that peace. I lost my grandpa a few years later, but my grandmother's death stuck with me. I started reading everything in the end. I knew it wasn't simple science like some claim. You do leave your body when you die. Where you go is anyone's guess. I just know what I saw the day my grandmother died. I had never considered killing myself. That was too weird. Then one day my best friend Carla told me she liked to cut herself. She showed me her scars on her wrist, and I was taken aback by her self-harm. "What if you go too deep?" I asked her.
I have a couple of times, but I've gotten good at stitching myself up.
She smirked. "Doesn't it hurt?" I asked her.
Yeah, but sometimes it's the only way I can feel things. I just feel like the world gets to be too much sometimes, and I want to escape it. I just don't want to die.
That is when I looked at her. I have always wanted to die, I said with tears in my eyes.
What, you mean like kill yourself?
No, just be at peace.
I feel at peace after I feel that rush. Like, I get a rush from the pain for a second, and it makes me less... I don't know how to explain it.
I get it, I said, and my friend had become my best friend. I never told her, but I started self-harming after that. I had to know if it would give me peace that I longed for when my grandmother showed me that look in her eyes. Like, at last, you could rest. Sadly, over the next few years, Carla and I stopped being so close. She started hanging with the posh, stuck-up crowd. I still craved to death. There was little in common with the Mean Girls squad. At 17, I had become close friends with a guy named Paul, whom I'd had a lot in common with. We both enjoyed Mr. Fraser's English class, played tons of video games, and enjoyed hacking. Not like professional hacking, just silly stuff like the local website to our local pizza shop. We hacked into it to say all the prices were reduced down to 99 cents. Silly kid stuff. We were never caught. Then one day, Paul came over with 2 of his laptops.
I have to show you something,
He said to me excitedly.
You ever been on the dark web?
I shook my head. No way!
It isn't all weirdos. I buy stupid shit on there like electronics, lots of black market stuff. It isn't all organs and creepers doing things to people.
You aren't messing with those sites, are you? I asked him, concerned.
No, I just found one though. I can't tell if they are serious. It's called the Murder Show.
What the hell, Paul?
No, I have everything blocked. They can't find us. I wanted you to see these comments. It freaked me out.
You are on the dark web, Paul, I retorted.
Listen, just look at this. Can this be real?
I hesitated, then I took his laptop and looked at the site. It was in a chat room. A few of the posts talked about the murder and the best way to do it. Then I read on. Dare 786. Are you ready, Randy? One poster asked. Randy 01.
Yeah, just don't hurt me too much.
Another username responded. Dare 786. You get that insurance filled out? Randy 01.
My wife will never want for anything ever again.
What the hell? Paul grabbed the laptop.
They let themselves be murdered for entertainment.
On purpose?
Yeah, one guy had cancer and didn't want to live anymore. It even says in the disclaimer that this is the Dr. Kevorkian of murder sites. It's all pity kills. They won't do it to healthy, happy, or well-adjusted humans. You must prove you are worthy, and they will do the cleanup, so no one ever finds out.
It is real. Turn it off, Paul.
Sorry, I didn't mean to freak you out. I just thought you would think it was at least interesting.
It is scary and unfortunate, if I'm honest. Paul's cell phone rang.
Sorry, Mom. Yes, I forgot. I'm with Andrea. Now I'm coming.
I looked at Paul, and he ran out and left. He was gone, and so I continued playing a new video game that I had bought with my allowance. I wasn't paying any attention when I heard someone say,
I see you.
Huh? I said to myself.
You there, girl with the black hair.
What the hell? Then I realized that Paul had left his stupid laptop on the floor of my bedroom, and it was still on that silly murder site. I peeked over my bed and looked down at the laptop, and just as I was about to close it, a man spoke again.
Oh, don't close it yet. You had to come here for a reason. Why don't you tell me what brought you here?
I didn't. My friend found it by accident, and we weren't really interested in the site.
That is okay. So, you were curious. Can I answer any of your questions?
This was getting too weird for me. I'm good. I think I get it.
Look, I get it. It's real-life dark web shit. I would want to close my laptop and burn it too. Only, I have seen you. How do you know I haven't already tracked your address? How do you know I'm not using facial recognition to find out exactly who you are, Andrea Becker?
He said my name. How did he know my name? I was gonna kill Paul. I picked up the laptop and I looked at the man who didn't look like your typical weirdo. He was sitting at a desk wearing a polo shirt. He had a friendly smile and kind eyes. I suddenly felt comfortable instead of creeped out, and I didn't know what it was.
My name is Milton. I founded the site to let people let out a little bit of cardinal steam. Tell me about yourself.
This is weird. I don't know.
Okay, look, I'll begin. I'm married. I'm a father of 2 kids, Jessica and Jenna. I work in management. This is just a side thing. I can assure you I'm every bit as human as you are. So tell me, why do you wish to die, Andrea Becker?
At that moment, it was like he had spoken to my heart. No one had ever spoken so honestly to me before. It was like having someone see your soul. At that moment, I thought, this is fate. Peace. I found myself speaking honestly, and even if I regretted it later, I couldn't help it. It was nice to see that someone could read my mind. At least it felt like that.
I think most of us who are empathetic to the ways of the world feel the same way you do.
Yeah, I guess. I sat up straight and I leaned into the screen of the laptop. I was beginning to feel so much more comfortable than I had ever thought I would. It was strange to trust someone on the dark web like this, but there was something about this man. He had a hold over me.
I'll tell you what, we are holding an event tonight at 11, and I hope you log on to join us to see what we are all about. I promise it isn't what you think.
I will have to check it out, I said, partially wondering if I wanted to have anything more to do with this man. The screen went black, and I shut Paul's laptop. I decided to go downstairs and grab a wine cooler out of the fridge. It was almost 10 o'clock and my parents were asleep, so I knew I wouldn't get in trouble. I drank the crappy drink, thinking long and hard about what had transpired, and I wondered if I wanted to know what went on in this so-called murder show. It was 5 to 11, and my cowardice was in full force, so I turned on the television. A white van is the suspect in the missing teen's disappearance in Franklin County. Witnesses say they saw the young James Madison talking to someone dressed as a clown as he was on his way to school Friday morning. I turned off the disturbing news program, deciding I would see what the big deal was with this murder show. There could not possibly be any reason for this nice man I had talked to be any part of a sympathy murder. The screen was still black, and then I saw a small room come into focus. The chat room was coming alive with flower emojis, and a last-minute thank yous and best wishes from the viewers who were donating Bitcoin to the website's owner. Then I saw a man sitting in a chair and typing away at his computer. Something oddly terrifying about it was because the viewers seemed to see it, and the man didn't seem to have anything to do with the viewers, as though he didn't even know that he was being watched. I watched as some of the viewers suddenly were aware of this fact. Rhonda, 24.
Do you think he even knows this is the last night on Earth?
Dave Telly, 45. Nope, that's how it works. Rhonda, 24.
I know, but I thought he would be more prepared. He has been with us so long here.
Dave Telly, 45. He will die soon, and he will be better off. Rhonda, 24.
No more cheating wife, no more debt, and no more anxiety about what tomorrow will bring.
Sassy Maria. I'm so happy for him. Dave Telly, 45. Me too, girl. Ivan Fist.
I hope this one is bloody, though. I like them with a little bit of gore.
Rhonda, 24.
I have to admit, I do too. Maybe he will get slashed on the throat.
Dave Telly, 45. I just want our boy to be happy. Ivan Fist.
Fuck that. Gore all the way.
I read the chat, and then I watched as the man sitting at his computer seemed to be working on something very intensely. That is when I heard what sounded like a doorbell ring. The man everyone was watching got up and walked away. I guessed to answer the door. Then I heard the sound of someone yelling. A man with a black mask on was soon dragging the man who had been sitting at the computer into his office. "No, I've changed my mind. Please, I don't want to." His throat was slashed in front of the computer. The slash was so deep it nearly decapitated the man who was only moments ago typing away at his laptop. I gasped, watching the scene unfold in front of me. Then the chat room exploded. Rhonda, 24.
Bye, Randy. We will miss you.
Unknown.
No, we won't.
Dave Telly, 45. So long, Randy. I hope you can now be at peace. Unknown.
Randy will never be at peace now. Hope he rots in hell.
Dave Telly, 45. Who is this? Rhonda, 24.
I will miss Randy, but anything will be better than dealing with a cheating wife, too much debt, and not knowing what tomorrow will bring. I long for my day to rest.
Unknown.
You should just put yourself out of your misery.
Dave Telly, 45. Seriously, what in the hell? This guy is pretty insensitive. We are celebrating the life and the death of a warrior. There was some strange interference, and I shut off the laptop, unplugging it. I texted Paul to get his stupid laptop, and he told me he would be over tomorrow to get it. I was sick to my stomach. Had a real-life murder just taken place? I knew without a shadow of a doubt it had. I was paralyzed with fear, and yet oddly jealous. I secretly wished I would be able to feel that peace that Randy felt. It terrified me, though, to no end. I woke up the next morning and prepared for school. I had strange dreams of people on the computer screen. I had dreams of them talking to me the way they had to Randy. I was sweating when I got out of bed, and I readied myself for school and what the new day would bring. Paul came over after school to get his laptop, and I made sure I didn't mention what had happened the night before. I just wanted the website out of my life. Paul seemed unfazed by the fact I had his laptop. He had a few, so what was one going missing? Following that incident, I stayed off my computer as much as possible. Then I had to log into my laptop to finish a school project about 2 weeks later. When I logged into my email, there was messages from a person called themselves Falcon. Andrea Becker, this is Falcon. Milton wanted me to let you know that he knows you logged in to watch Randy's transition, and he wanted to see how you were since viewing our little show. I deleted the messages. I didn't want anything to do with these weird people. As I had this thought, I got an instant message from Milton. Milton.
Andrea, I am so sorry you seemed alarmed by Randy's transaction. Tell me, how did that make you feel? It is okay to feel scared, terrified, sad, angry, or all of the above.
I looked at what he was typing, and that same consoling man made my guard go down. I would have asked him how he got my email, but I already knew that if it were easy for them to get my name, how much harder would it be to get my email? Milton.
Andrea?
Hello, Milton. I don't know how I feel about what I saw. I don't think I want anything to do with this.
Andrea, talk to me.
I don't know what to say. You killed a man.
Yes, but he wanted it. We helped him transition, and we can help you.
I looked at what he was saying. I had wanted so badly to feel peace and lose all of my earthly worries, but this was too much too fast. I have to go, Milton.
Andrea Becker, reconsider. You don't have to participate, but we are people that understand you. You know, I read your online diary, your poetry, and I know what you wish for.
I was stunned and felt violated. How did they hack into my online diary? It was my private thoughts on my blog site I never made public. I was terrified, and then Milton said something else that made me reconsider.
I have seen your interactions with others. We have watched you interact with your friends. We know it wasn't you that initially found our website. We don't care. We welcome you. We only ask that you keep our little secret to help others like yourself and like Randy.
I don't know what made me do it. I began to trust Milton. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel weird about my feelings on death. These people seem to understand. I feel so weird talking about it.
It is hard to acknowledge your feelings at first, but once you do, you will begin to understand.
Are there others like Randy?
We try not to allow too many transactions at once. We give people time to mourn in our community after someone transitions. We have another coming up at the end of the month, and this person has yet to be named.
How does it work?
Well, we take a vote on who is next. Once the vote is in, the nominee gets contacted through a congratulations email to give them time to tie up any loose ends. Then, they're not told the day or time of their death. We feel that it would ruin the transition.
What if they change their mind?
They are given no way to back out. It is in our clause. If you are on track for transition, which I feel you are, just being a part of the community is an agreement. You have already witnessed a transition, an illegal act. So, you have already agreed to the clause.
What about you?
What about me?
Can you transition?
I will, in time. My agreement was after my children will be old enough to understand. Once they are, then I will join others like Randy and you.
Oh, I typed.
I have to go now. It was nice chatting with you. Remember, if you ever need someone to talk to, we are here. We understand how you feel.
He logged off the chat, and I sat in front of the chat. Then another name popped up. Rhonda24.
Hello, Andrea.
I didn't respond right away. Rhonda24.
I just want to let you know, if you ever need a friend, I'm not much older than you, and I get how you feel. You can reach out to me.
Thank you. I have to go now. Rhonda24.
Have a great evening, Andrea.
I logged off the computer. As time wore on, I realized that I enjoyed the community. I had made a few friends within the community. I had several bad days in the last month. One of them was that Paul and I had a falling out. He was angry with me for spending time online in the transition community, as I had learned to refer to it as. The community helped me with overcoming some of my anxieties, so I didn't think much about dying anymore. If anything, I wanted to live because I felt relieved that I had now a group that understood how I felt. After all, they felt the same way as me. Then the day came out of nowhere. I was planning my graduation speech as I had been elected by Mr. Fraser to give my class a short address. I typed, retyping, and over-editing everything as I was writing when I got a ding on my computer. My email popped up, and I recognized the email address. It was from Falcon. Congratulations, Andrea Becker. Your countdown transition begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, now. I gulped reading the email because I didn't feel the way I had before. I didn't want to panic. This had been a mistake. I was no longer depressed. I had things to live for now. Why had they voted on transitioning me? I saw that Milton was online. Milton, I think you made a mistake. I am least qualified to transition, especially now that I feel so much better. Crickets could have chirped from the computer. Instead of responding as Milton had 100 times before, he ignored me and logged off. This was a nighttime. I stood up, looking around my room. Indeed, I'd have time to graduate. I was at a disadvantage of being at home alone. My parents were at some union banquet because my father was on the Teamsters board. I got up from my computer desk and locked all the doors and secured the doors. I turned on the radio to think. There was a story on the radio about a white van and how another child had been missing. Another witness saw someone dressed as a clown talking to the child. Ugh, not something I needed to hear right now. I flipped the station to some soft music. Sarah McLachlan came on, so I left it. I needed to think. I logged into the chat, and I could see all the congratulations Andrea comments in the chat. Hey guys, I think there's a mistake. Rhonda24.
Congratulations, Andrea.
Dave Telly 45. I hope you have the best transition. Unknown.
I hope you bleed into the camera for Daddy.
Me. What? Who would say such a thing? Unknown.
I can't wait to cut you from ear to ear.
Rhonda, 24.
Dude, get out of here.
I got a private chat message from Rhonda, 24. I accepted it. Rhonda, 24.
Don't sweat it, Andrea. The guy is some weirdo that has been harassing a bunch of us. We can't block him. He has this crazy firewall system. Just please know how happy I am for you and how much I will miss you.
I couldn't think of anything else to say. I was about to log off when there was a bang from outside my house. Before I could do anything, a stranger wearing a black mask burst through my bedroom door. I stood in pure terror and shock. I did the only thing I could think of and grabbed a desk chair in front of me and flung it at the stranger. He was tall, thin, and didn't seem to have been prepared for my sudden means of survival. He lurched forward and grabbed me by the throat. I could feel his large hands trying to suffocate me. I looked over to the computer and saw that it had popped back on, all in its own accord. A red light flashed on the screen. I realized I was being recorded for someone's amusement. The darkness engulfed me at this very moment, and I sprung up, kicking the man in the groin. He growled in pain, and for a moment I had time to run, but not for long, before the man stood up and shut my bedroom door so I had no means of escape. He pulled out a knife from behind him, and I looked around the room to find something else I could defend myself with. I saw a coffee mug, grabbing it and throwing it at his head. To my luck, he stopped to rub his head, and I barreled past him towards the door. Then I was caught off guard by the swiping of the knife to the back of my leg, causing me to scream in pain. I hit the ground, and he went for my throat with the knife. I rolled over quickly, causing him to stab the floor instead of me. I kicked him in the head this time as he struggled to get the knife out from the wooden floor. He fell to the ground, and for a moment we both worked with the knife. Finally, I managed to grab it and stabbed him in the chest. The struggle was over. Someone had transitioned tonight, but it wasn't me. It wasn't going to be me. I had far too much to live for. I took a deep breath, and then I took off the mask of the man. To my utter despair, it was Paul. How had Paul gotten involved in trying to kill me? It all made perfect sense now. They had all known so much about me. Still, Paul had been my best friend for years. I ran downstairs to find my cell phone and call 911. The dispatcher said that they would be sending someone as soon as possible. I saw a large white truck coming towards my house, barreling down the street. I jumped into the road, flagging them down. There was something strange about the truck. I realized when the headlights were no longer blinding my vision that it wasn't an ambulance. I backed into the sidewalk and continued to look down the street for the ambulance. The truck did something strange, though. They stopped in front of me and backed up, so my view down the road was blocked. A door at the back of the truck opened up. There were two tall men dressed as clowns. One had blue hair and a red nose with what looked like blood around his mouth and dirty teeth. He grinned big at me. The other had a red and yellow wig with green makeup. He looked more sinister than the other clown. They stood looking at me, and then the circus music began to play. I was annoyed by whatever joke that they were trying to play, especially at a time like this. I could hear the ambulance now as it was making its way down my street. I tried to walk around the two stupid clowns. This was all so ridiculous to me. That is when they grabbed me. I screamed for them to let go. I had to help Paul. Then the other one helped get me by the legs. Before I knew it, I was no longer breathing. I, Andrea Becker, died that night. I won't bore you with the details. It was gruesome, and it was horrid. I have been missing for 3 years. I hope someone can see my story and relay what happened to me. I'd like my parents to be able to have peace. We all deserve some peace. I saw the book close on its own then. There were tears in my eyes as I read the last word of Andrea Becker. I wasn't sure how I could help, but I went over to my computer. There were numerous reportings of sightings of clowns in the connection with missing children. I decided to search the area, combing missing persons cases from around the region. I didn't know how I was suddenly able to hack into the systems using multiple databases, but I was doing it. For Andrea Becker's sake, I was doing it. That is when I found something very crucial. There were several sightings recently in my neighborhood. There were also 6 missing persons in a 5-mile vicinity. I clicked, I typed, and I searched until I could put the connections together. In all of the disappeared persons, there were 3 bodies found. One was 17-year-old female. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that it would be the remains of Andrea Becker's young body. I forwarded the information to the detective working the case. How had they not put it together on their own? I had no idea. I did now have gifts that now helped me with those who could not help themselves. Later that night, there was a break in the 3 missing persons cases. No thanks to me. I was tired after Andrea Becker's story. That book never rests, though. Last night in the middle of the night, I heard music coming from somewhere. It woke me from a dead sleep. I decided to find out what the matter was. It sounded like circus music. I walked into my living room, and parked in front of my house was the white van with clowns in the driver's seat. I stared at them for a long time, and then I opened my front door. 2 maniacal clowns got out of the back, and then they slowly made their way towards my house. I let out a deep breath, and then I yelled. I was using my newfound thunderous gift, their windows, to all the vans burst out. They both held onto their ears as though they were in pain. I had no doubt why they were here. I heard someone yell, "Help me, please!" It was a woman. I became momentarily distracted by the sound of wailing behind me. Sad, painful wailing. I looked away from the clown van towards the read-me book on the couch. When I looked back towards the street, the van with the clowns was now gone. I would see to it that they were punished, but until then, I had other pressing business. I picked up the book, and inside it, I read the chapter to the next story. I was the youngest member of the lunatic asylum.